Hey guys, we're going to start this video off by showing you a short clip that some of you might have seen before of a traffic stop in Japan. Anyway, check this out. This is just a random traffic stop on the main road back into our little town. Now I've deleted or muted some parts of this conversation that are private for me or private for the police officer. So there's a few bits that are muted out, but the rest of it's as it was. So have a listen to this.
こんばんは。
こんばんは。
警察です。
はい。
今検問やってます。運転免許証を確認させてください。
あ、はい。
ごめんなさいね、お仕事帰りですか？
あとは道場行った。
道場？
はい。
何の道場？
ちょっと合気道します。
合気道？
はい。
ああ、素晴らしい。
素晴らしくない。あまり上手ないですね。はい。
おう。素晴らしい。どこの方です？もともとは？
あとオーストラリアから。
オーストラリアの方。
はい、
素晴らしいね。日本語も素晴らしい。
まだ全然。
いつ来られたの日本に？日本語も？
まだ初心者ですね。
素晴らしい。24年のでもう住所変更もされてですね。はい。OK です。素晴らしいです。はい。ありがとうございます。
すみません。
気をつけてくださいね。
はい、ありがとうございます。
はい、ありがとうございます。で、前の車が進んだら行ってくださいね。はい、気をつけて。
はい、ありがとうございます。
すみません、ありがとうございます。合気道頑張ってください。
はい、頑張ります。
前の車入りますので、その後に行ってください。
はい。
ごめんなさいね。
はい。ありがとうございます。
はい、ありがとうございます。
So that was fairly painless, wasn't it? That was about 2 minutes. Our trip was delayed by about 2 minutes by that traffic stop. And what they're actually doing there is obviously checking driver's licenses and things, but it was a Friday night, so what they're really doing was sniffing for alcohol to see if there's anybody driving home after work drunk. So if he detected alcohol, he would have done a breath test probably. So he didn't detect any alcohol or any drunk behaviour, so we went on our way. So 2 minutes, and we can tell ourselves that, okay, that means that it's good to know that on that road that we use all the time, that the police are active in stopping drunk drivers, which is a good thing. And also maybe catch the occasional criminal or something as well by those stops as well. So no skin off our nose, 2 minutes off our delay, quite a pleasant exchange, wasn't it? And it was actually quite a pleasant experience, nothing unpleasant about it at all. Isn't that better than some of the childish bullshit that we've been seeing on the front page of YouTube recently? Now, I just want to cover a couple of things. First of all is, what we're going to be talking about is an American thing. It's those videos that we're seeing a lot of on YouTube recently where people are stopped by the police and, you know, fighting for their rights, so refusing to wind down their windows. Or the one that was on there recently that triggered this video was a guy that was old, like as old as me maybe, really old, right? And he'd been stopped for speeding. So the cop said you were doing this speed in this thing, and yes, he was stopped for speeding and didn't challenge the fact that he was speeding, accepted the fact that he was speeding. So and refused to wind down his window, refused to answer any questions, refused to do all these things, which left the cop. I mean, let's just remember, first of all, he only got stopped because he was speeding. If he hadn't have been breaking the law, he wouldn't have been stopped in the first place. And then if he just said, yes, I was speeding, the cop writes the tickets, he answers the questions. The questions aren't any big personal secrets. Cops ask questions for reasons. They want to know where you're going, what you're doing. They don't really give a shit. What they're doing is trying to find out if you're drunk, trying to find out if you've got a reason for being where you are. They're trying to catch criminals, basically. You know, let's all accept that, yes, there is an occasional cop who's an asshole, but most of them aren't. Most of them are just trying to catch criminals and catch people breaking the law. Now, in that guy's case, they were talking to him because he was speeding, right? So if he'd just gone, yes, and they said, what are you doing today? Oh, I'm going shopping, okay, and where's your driver's license? Here it is, and please wind down your window, okay, there you are, and thank you for the ticket, and he would have been on his way in a minute. But instead of that, he had to make a big drama out of it. Now, look guys, I know that on YouTube, we've got a lot of young people, we can see that in the statistics, you know, and I know what it's like to be a teenage boy, and, you know, when you're a teenage boy, mostly boys, girls don't really give a shit about shit like this usually. They got better things to think about. But teenage boys have got the testosterone starting to come on, and they're starting to want to fight against the system. Now, that's healthy and natural for boys, and there's reasons for it, because, you know, there's reasons for it genetically why we behave like that when we're teenage boys. And when you're a teenage boy, teachers suck. You know, this is big generalizations, right? Not all teenage boys are like this. But when you're a teenage boy, any sort of authority sucks, basically. You don't want to listen to what your parents say. You don't listen to what teachers say. You don't want to listen to police, because you don't want anybody telling you what you can't do. You don't like rules. You don't like being stopped from doing things that you want to do. And that's perfectly normal for teenage boys, you know. But usually what happens is, as we mature, we realise that rules are necessarily part of life in order to keep society civilised. I mean, you know, this anti-cop thing, if there was no cops and no laws, you know, although that appeals to teenage boys, you know, and it appeals, some dudes are teenage boys all their lives. Like the guy that I was talking about in that video, you know, he's probably, I don't know, he's in his 40s probably, and he's still behaving like a teenage boy, you know, he's got to fight authority. You know, it's all very well, guys, but we need it. You know, we need the coppers, and the stupid thing is that fighting the cops doesn't change anything. Now, I think protesting and standing up for rights and everything else is very important. It's very true. But I don't think that one dude being an annoying asshole to a copper is going to change anything. It's not going to change anything. You come on YouTube, 95% of the people who watch it on YouTube aren't even in America, so their opinions aren't going to matter at all. If you change their opinions or anything, it's not going to make any difference. And the cop isn't going to change his thinking. Anybody that's spent any time with cops or any time in law enforcement knows what that cop says when that guy drives away. As the dude drives away, the cop stands and goes, fucking asshole. What an asshole. What an annoying prick. What a waste of time. He doesn't think, oh, that guy's right, we really need to change our policies. The cop doesn't make the policies. And this is what these dudes are forgetting. Now look, if you're a teenage boy, or you're a 40-year-old teenage boy and you fight the system, okay, that's fine. You probably want to go watch another video, because this video is not for you. But you're not going to like any of this video, okay? Go watch something else. But the cops don't make the policy, and the cops don't make the rules, and being a pain in the ass nuisance for the cop is just wasting the cop's time and yours. If it, you know, it would have been a 2-minute stop, you blow it out to 10 minutes by, I mean, you refuse to wind down your windows and you refuse to answer questions, then the cop's going to get suspicious. And then you're going to be spending more time listening to him and talking to him, and the whole exchange is going to take longer. You know, it's not going to change anything. If you really want to change stuff, I mean, from what I've seen, the American system is, you know, I keep hearing about this police state and everything else. YouTube's full of videos talking about the police state in America, and you got to fight tyranny and all this sort of shit. I've seen no evidence of that in any of these videos, of any tyranny in America. I've seen the odd video on YouTube of the odd cop who's a bad cop who's assaulted someone, and that bad cop needs to get fired. Obviously he's in the wrong job, right? But the generalization of America being a tyranny, and you've got to fight tyranny. You're going to fight tyranny by refusing to wind your window down for a copper. Really? It's not going to change anything. If you really want to protest stuff like that, you need to deal with the people who make the policies and the laws, which is going to be your politicians, and you're going to be your police commissioners are the people that you need to address these protests to. The average cop on the beat, it's not going to make any difference at all. He's just going to turn to his partner and say, wasn't that guy a dickhead? And they're going to forget about you 5 minutes later. And it's a never-ending cycle as well. You saw in that exchange with the Japanese policeman how pleasant it was, and it's because the people in Japan treat the policemen with respect. The policemen are citizens too. This is the unusual thing about these YouTube videos, is they're talking about the citizens and my right as an American and all this sort of stuff. The American citizens have rights. Well, that cop's an American citizen too, right? He's just a dude doing his job. You know, and like it or not, teenage boys, police are important. We need police. If there was no crime, and there was no assholes, and there was no thieves, and there was no murderers, and there was no criminals in the world, we wouldn't need cops. That would be fantastic. But it's not the way it is. You need to have cops. It's just the way it is. And cops need to talk to citizens. That's just the way it is. If cops stop talking to citizens and stop pulling people up that are driving, how are they going to catch criminals? You know? And if you're not breaking the law, why do you give a shit? You know, if it's 2 minutes out of your time, look at it as a gift to society. Look at it as a gift to society, that you're going to give society 2 minutes of your time. You know, same as with that traffic stop with that Japanese cop. And the cops in Australia are the same. I've been stopped by cops in New Zealand, they were the same. You know, if you're polite and respectful, they're polite and respectful. They can see that you're not doing anything wrong, and off you go. You know, as soon as you start, no, I'm not opening my window and I'm not answering your questions and everything else, well, yeah, okay, yeah, that's my right. Well, yeah, okay. Give up a couple of your rights for 2 minutes for the good of society. You're not giving it to that cop. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit. Personally, he doesn't give a shit. So if you just give up your right to not wind down your window, you wanker, wind down your window, answer his questions, take the ticket, drive away. You know, think of it as your gift to society, that you're giving up a couple of minutes. You know, all this bullshit about tyranny and everything else, well, fuck guys, look at the rest of the world. I'm not seeing any other videos. You know, 95% of the world isn't in America, and I'm not seeing any other videos on YouTube about people in any other countries in the world having to fight their cops because of tyranny. What the fuck? I mean, okay, look, let's we're not talking about Iran or, you know, North Korea or, you know, the extreme countries. I'm just talking about civilized Western countries and Eastern countries. You know, we don't have to be fighting tyranny in any other countries. Why is it that in America that you've got to refuse to wind your window down to fight tyranny? Just, you know, look, I started to head toward this before. This is about America. I don't live there, okay? So I really don't care if people want to carry on like that. You know, it's the same as the gun issue. It's the same as all the other bloody fight the tyranny, fight the government. You know, the people versus the government, the people versus the cop stuff. It's unbelievable for an outsider. Now, what I keep trying to get towards is, I don't live there, but the thing is, it dominates. That sort of shit is dominating the internet. It's all over the internet, you know, and YouTube and all these other companies on the internet have branches all around the world, including Japan, because they want to grow their internet businesses, and they know that they need to get the world involved, that if they only have American people watching, that they'll only have 5% of the population watching. So, you know, we people who aren't in America are very important to YouTube and these other companies. Now, as a viewer on YouTube, we have a right to observe and make comments about these things. And I've found before, someone with a username of the Japan channel, if I dare to make a comment on one of these topics on a video, I get lots of abuse. Yeah, but you're a bloody Jap, what would you know, rah, 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 rah. You know, we dropped the bomb, we showed you. Fucking what? It's none of your business, rah, 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 rah. Well, yeah, it is, guys, because if the format or if the forum that we're using, in this case YouTube, is going to have videos like that on the front page, then we're all entitled to make comments. And the other thing is that we are citizens of the world. Now, when I make a video about Japan, we get comments on that video from people from all over the world. Nobody says, well, I'm American, so I can't really comment about Japan. You know, that doesn't happen. Everybody comes on and freely makes their opinion known. you know, oh, that's terrible, or that's ridiculous, or why does it have to be like that in Japan? Japan's crazy, wasn't it? Well, so my point is that as a citizen of the world and as a viewer of YouTube, everybody is entitled to observe and make comments on this stuff. So the point of this video is to you guys who feel that you need to you want to change stuff, or you want to protest stuff, or you want to campaign for your rights or something, I'd suggest you find a more effective format, because making a video of yourself arguing with a cop, refusing to wind your window down, isn't going to change anything. It's not going to change anything, because the viewership is all over the world. If you really want to change something in your state, and I know the way American laws work with stuff like this, you know, and it's quite often a state or even a city policy or rule, isn't it? You know, quite often, even though you've got your Bill of Rights and you've got all your national rights and so on, which is really what you're talking about, the actual rules and laws and policies that some people are getting emotional about are made on a local level, aren't they? So there's city rule, or that local police group, police department rules, or policies, or whatever it is. They're the people, if you're not happy with the way things are, that's where you need to focus. You know, and protesting, I mean, you can use modern forms of protest like Facebook and things like that, or you can be standing outside the police station with a placard saying, you know, no unfair police stops, or something like that. If there really is policies and rules that need to be changed, that's where it needs to be done. Because I think the reason it's so frustrating is because it's just not right. These cops are doing a job. Now, again, the bad cops that don't do the right thing or break the law need to be fired, right? So if there's a bad cop in your city who does the wrong thing, and you get a video of it, take it, show it to their bosses, give it to the media, and get him fired. That's what should happen. But if it's just you don't like being stopped by police, well, the first thing I'd suggest is don't break the law, don't speed, and that'll make you much less likely to get stopped by the police. The other thing is that, you know, if you do get stopped by the cops and you don't like it, well, the best thing is just to answer their damn questions, wind down your window, take the ticket, answer their questions, and you'll be on your way in a couple of minutes. They don't care. They're not going to, you know, all this conspiracy shit about giving information and hide my information, and the cops don't ask you any more than what YouTube asks you to join YouTube, you know? Nothing else more than is on your driver's license or written on the registration plate of your car. They don't really give a shit where you're going or where you've come from. They don't care. That's just part of the questioning process, to try and ascertain if you're under the influence of anything, and to try and find out why you're in the area you're in, because, you know, it's what law enforcement people do, because they're trying to find out if the person belongs. They look at your driver's license, you're not from that area, they ask you what you're doing in that area. They're trying to stop the criminals. You know, I don't know what you guys that are so upset about all this, I don't know what you think society would be like if the cops stopped doing all this. You know, anybody who's had any experience in law enforcement at all knows that this stuff is essential. That if you don't do it, look, Japan is not so necessary. Being stopped by the cops here is really rare. It's really, really rare. You know, and it's because their crime rates are so low. But, you know, you guys that live in these high crime areas, or, you know, in areas where you've got lots of crime, it's important. You know, it's the only way. If the cops stop doing it, crime goes rampant. It really does. You know, and I know that there's an element of the population, we know from our gun videos that there's an element of the population think that you don't need cops. Just everybody has their gun and everybody will just sort it out for themselves. Well, yeah. You know, it's a good fantasy, but it doesn't work. So, I don't know, guys. I know this has been a bit of a rant. I was hoping I could make it a little bit more logical, but it's just so ridiculous. And the reason it's so frustrating is this isn't just one video. This comes up all the time. The videos like that are forever coming up on the front page of YouTube. You know, how to handle a police stop. And you get some fucking smart-ass 30-year-old standing there saying, you know, I'm not answering any of your questions, I'm not winding down my window, no, you don't have it, you know, come on, guys. You know, fight tyranny. Really? You guys that, I'm talking about those people that get all emotional about this and really think they're fighting tyranny by not winding down their window. You really have that little faith in the American system that you think that that sort of stuff is necessary every day to fight tyranny? Why is it that all these other countries where we're living quite happily, you know, Australia and New Zealand and Japan and Europe, go to Europe, cruise around Europe, those guys have got some amazing rights, guys. Go smoke some pot in Amsterdam and watch some nude girls sitting in the park and you guys think you got lots of rights and freedoms in the States. Go see how these guys are living. They're not fighting their cops and their government every day. If they do protest, they protest in an intellectual way, in a logical, intellectual way, using thoughts and you know, they're not fighting their own cops. There's something philosophically ridiculous about a system or about a society where you fight your own police. You know, and then we always get someone to go, but what about Martin Luther King and all the human rights activists if they didn't do that? Yeah, but what changed things with the human rights activists was the placards, and they're out in public, thousands of people in public protesting against injustice, and all the moderate people who are sitting at home watching this on TV were going, geez, these guys are making a good point, and that's what swayed public opinion, and that's what changed stuff. It wasn't fighting the cops. It's not the extremists. Now, guys, the guys that carry on with this stuff are extremists. You know, and society has extremists, and it's just the way it is, and that's not going to change. But I'm just encouraging you guys not to go the extremist route. That fighting cops and arguing with cops, and YouTube, those videos are so popular on YouTube because all the teenage boys love them. Oh, you showed that cop, yay, you know. Yeah, big deal. Changes nothing. It changes absolutely nothing. All it does is further deteriorates the relationship between the police and the citizens, and it wastes everybody's time, and it causes a lot of bad vibes that aren't necessary. It doesn't achieve anything. It doesn't achieve anything, and nothing's ever been achieved. Protest achieves things, you know, placards or internet campaigns or Facebook or whatever it is, you know, email campaigns to politicians or whatever it is, protesting outside buildings with placards, that changes shit. You know, getting the media there and you're out the outside protesting against whatever it is that you're not happy with, that'll change stuff. But just, you know, hassling some individual copper is just a total waste of time. It makes a popular YouTube video, and not with everybody. Read the comments on those pages. If you see that comment of that dude refusing to wind down his window, read the comments. There's a lot of switched on people leave comments on those videos saying things like, you made that whole thing a drama and you didn't need to. You know, you were speeding, you got caught, and then you made the thing into a big drama. You know, and a lot of people realise it. And a lot of people realise it and also don't comment because they know they'll get hassled by all the angry teenage boys, you know. And again, not all teenage boys are angry teenage boys. There's a lot of intelligent teenage boys who also recognise this is the case. But it's the testosterone-filled, frustrated little teenage boy that makes those videos popular on YouTube. So, you know, next time you get stopped by the cops, try being polite and try being civilised and watch how quickly you're out of there. He's not going to be interested. If you answer his questions politely and behave like a good citizen, he's going to say, oh, here's a good citizen, see you later. He's not going to waste any more time with you. If you refuse to wind down your window and you refuse to answer questions, he's going to think, what's this guy up to? You know, what's he got in the car? You know, of course. And then next time you see one of these videos on YouTube where you've got somebody carrying on with their bullshit about it's my right not to wind down my window, you know, it's carrying on with their bullshit, just watch what they're really doing and think about what they're achieving. Because as soon as they drive away, that cop's just going to turn to his mate and say, what a dickhead, and they're going to move on. They're going to move on. And think about that police stop you saw in Japan, and that's what, you know, that's what police are like in Japan, because the citizens are nice to them, they're nice to the citizens. It's really nice. You know, we've got to break that cycle. In the countries where it's not like that, you've got to break the cycle. Even in Australia, it's pretty good. You get the occasional dickhead cop in Australia, but it's rare. Most of the time, if you're civilised with the police in any country they'll be civilised with you. I don't know. Anyway, just some observations and thoughts, guys. So again, please feel free to leave your comments. Please try and keep it as civilised as you can. If you totally disagree with what's been said in this video, by all means, please give us your opinion and your thoughts and what you think. And if you totally disagree, please say, totally disagree, I think this. But please remember, any insults or abuse or anything else that's over the top will be deleted, and the over the top people will be blocked. Sorry, but you know, we've got to keep it civilised, haven't we? You can swear, of course. Swearing's okay on this channel. Oh, please. Kidding. More videos coming soon.